So this is our city, Piazza, which is Italian for square. Um, and in it we have our four zones: agricultural, residential, commercial, and industrial. And each of the zones are separated um, in the triangles that we have. So they're all close together and they can all commute to each other very easily through the subway on the edges or the borders of the zones. Um, let's zoom in on commercial. Let's do that. So in our industrial zone, we have a lot of small businesses and just other businesses in general. And we also have a stadium and a theater, and we have some hotels and malls. The idea of our commercial zone was to bring in a lot of revenue from other places, so that would be how our city would get money and funding. And we definitely wanted to support small businesses and like give them an opportunity to to get money and stuff. And it's good because our residential zone is near our commercial zone, so it's a very easy commute, and like buying stuff is definitely embraced. Yeah. So our residential zone was kind of separated into two parts. We have the main housing single unit, and there's actually a recreational center in that, um, where there's a pool and stuff like that. And then we have the other section, which is more of like apartment buildings and the schools and hotels and things like that. So there's a lot of different options for potential residents that want to live here. And in the apartment areas, we would want to keep like low rent in mind, or rent that's like accessible. And we wouldn't really want to raise it too much because yeah. Um, and then the schools are very close by to all of the housing. So none of the kids would really have to go out of district or really have to commute. It's a very easy commute. That's very close. Um, and yeah, that's our commercial zone, or our residential zone. This is our agricultural zone, and as you can see, we have a solar panel farm, and then we have um, some wind turbines also as a second source of energy. We would want to like mostly get a lot of our energy from the solar panels, but it's good to have like a wind turbine system as well, like a second source of energy just in case. And then we have a ton of different kinds of farms, and then we have a park as well. So the park would be for the residents, and it's very close by as well, so they can easily get to the park. And the farms, they would be a lot of different kinds of farms. So we would have both like vegetable and crop farms, and then we would have like animal farms and stuff like that. Um, and we would also maybe want to expand into like vertical farming. Of course, like our farming takes up a lot of space, but it's used well and it's not really polluting. Um, and yeah, it's closest to the residential zone because it has the least amount of like emissions and pollution, and we wanted to keep that in mind for the residents. And yeah, it's our zone. This is our industrial zone. So as you can see, we have a lot of different kinds of units and buildings in here. A lot of it, like the blue things, are warehouses, so that we definitely wanted to have a lot of storage, especially if our population would grow. And then also we have a lot of factories, and of course we would want to keep the kind of factories that don't really contribute a lot of pollution and stuff like that. And it's the farthest away from the residential um, unit because it shares the least amount of space, but it's still like accessible from the subways and stuff like that. Like it shares the line that would go into there, so the workers and the employees would be able to get into there very easily. um, we have some water towers and some police stations and fire stations, and we also have an airport. So we wanted to keep that all in one space and we also wanted to like prioritize safety and things like that, especially in an industrial zone where it's a little bit more dangerous, or it's like uh, it's definitely something we wanted to keep in mind. And oh, and then we have a water sanitation unit as well, and that's far away from the residents as well because those usually smell a little bit. But it can still be transported very easily to everywhere that it needs to go, the water. And yeah, that is our industrial zone.